Morning. Next up, we're going to have Brian Springer from Georgia Tech Research Institute. Please help me welcome Brian to the stage.
Good morning, GEO community. Glad to be back here in San Antonio. I recently retired from the Army. It's hard to follow up these two doctors here. We had Peter and Alan up here. They're very good speeches, so here I come up here as a retired military guy, but it's always good to be back in San Antonio. So that's almost like home for me, so it's always comfortable for me to be up here. So good morning again. My name is Brian Springer. I'm one of the senior research scientists at Georgia Tech Research Institute. And today I'll give you a quick overview of both Georgia Tech and GTRI, Georgia Tech Research Institute. Here's the agenda that I will follow today. I'll give you a little background on both Georgia Tech and GTRI. We'll talk about how we operate as a UARC, and then some of the ways that you can reach Georgia Tech through contracts. And then I'll talk specifically about some of the programs that we have in place to support the GEOINT community. A little history about Georgia Tech. The Georgia Tech campus wasn't always the sprawling campus that we have in Midtown Atlanta today. Way back when we first started in 1888, it was only the two buildings you see up there on the top left. 4 short years later, the building on the left burned down, and we reconstructed the second building without the tower. It was in that building that Georgia Tech Research Institute got it started. It was first called the Engineering Experiment Station, and then later changed its name in 1984 into Georgia Tech Research Institute, as it is today. So again, as I mentioned before, I recently retired from the Army, and I've only been at GTRI about a little over a year or so. But one of the best things that I've noticed about Georgia Tech and GTRI is how they're both fully integrated. This is a real strength for GTRI in that we have a deep bench of not only researchers at GTRI, but also at Georgia Tech main campus. In addition to that, we have 20,000 of the best and brightest students in the nation that we can tap into. Georgia Tech has really grown into an extraordinary institution over the past number of years. Last year, we were ranked number 4 in undergraduate engineering, behind only MIT, Stanford, and Berkeley. All of our engineering programs are in the top 10, and some, like industrial and aerospace, are always number 1 and number 2 in the nation. This brings tremendous credibility when we go out and meet with and talk to potential sponsors in the community. And it's something that we're truly proud of at Georgia Tech, especially the many graduates of Georgia Tech that we have within our ranks. GTRI itself hires more Georgia Tech graduates than any other employer in the city of Atlanta, and we're very proud of that. In terms of overall Georgia Tech enterprise, GTRI really is a very significant part of it. We represent about 1/3 of the total faculty and more than half of the overall research budget. So most people know Georgia Tech as a degree-granting institute with our 6 exceptional colleges, specifically the College of Engineering. There are also 3 other pillars that make up Georgia Tech's innovation engine. Georgia Tech Research Institute, the organization that I represent, is listed there in the top left, and I'll get into that slide a little bit more later. In 1996, the Enterprise Innovation Institute was spun out of GTRI to provide a more visible and dedicated focus for economic development in the state of Georgia. The 4th pillar is the Georgia Tech Global Learning Center and the Georgia Tech Professional Education Programs. At GTPE, we deliver in-residence and on-site short courses focused on a variety of topics. So now let's dig a little deeper into GTRI itself. The core operating function for GTRI is its research labs. GTRI is structurally organized into 8 labs grouped into 3 directorates: the Sensors and Intelligence Systems Directorate, the Information and Cyber Sciences Directorate, and the Electronic Optics and Systems Directorate. Again, I fall under the Information and Cyber Sciences Directorate. Most of these labs are located in and around our Midtown location, just co-located with the main campus of Georgia Tech. But we also have 2 labs out at our Cobb County facility that falls within the Sensors and Intelligence Systems Directorate, and we have 1 lab that's located down in Huntsville, Alabama, right next to Redstone Arsenal that falls within our Electronics, Optics, and Systems Directorate. They're actually one of our largest labs and one of our largest field offices. Last year, we conducted over $360 million in sponsored research. Between all of our locations, we have over 1 million square foot of research space. About 12,000 of that is SCIF space. We also have 18 field office sites strategically located throughout the nation. We have one right here in San Antonio, where Mr. Jim Hilliard is the site manager for that site. As I mentioned in the previous slide, we are fully integrated with the academic side of Georgia Tech. In fact, we have about 300 or so students, both graduate and undergraduate, that work within GTRI workspaces. As you can see in the pie chart there, our research is split pretty evenly amongst the Army, Navy, and Air Force. Over 90% of the work that we do is for the DoD, but we do have a small footprint in both the state and local government and some private industry work. As far as our role as a UARC, we've only been designated as a UARC for about 20 years or so, but our work within the federal government space goes back for decades. In fact, some of the programs that we have been in existence for over 30 years. And just like all of the other UARCs, we operate in the public interest to maintain essential core research and development capabilities for the DoD. Our actual UARC charter is held with the U.S. Army Aviation and Missile Research Development Engineering Center down at Redstone Arsenal, which is the reason we have one of our larger labs located down in Huntsville, Alabama. So this slide here just shows some of our core competencies as a UARC. And as you can see, we have a broad spectrum of competencies within GTRI. So just about every time I meet with potential sponsors, I eventually get asked, how do you reach GTRI? Well, this slide kind of shows some of the ways that you can reach us. Obviously, if you have work that fits in one of our core competencies, you can use the UARC vehicles, the UARC contracts, and sole source directly to us. But we also are part of the Defense Technical Information Center, Cybersecurity and Information Systems, and Defense Systems Technical Area Task, or the CS and DS TATs. These are a group of organizations that are primes on these contracts and work with DTIC to do programs through DoD customers. So now let's talk specifically about some of the programs that we currently have in place to support the GEOINT community. As I mentioned earlier, I fall within the Information and Cyber Sciences Directorate, and most of these programs are from other directorates, so I'm not the SME for those. However, we will have SMEs at our booth in the exhibit hall at booth 1018, so I invite all of you to come out to our booth and pick the brains of our researchers if you have any deep questions on any of these topics. So first, let's talk about machine learning. GTRI researchers are using world-class expertise to reduce machine learning time through synthetic training models and novel uses of high-performance computing. Our goal is to perform real-time object characterization and full scene understanding at the sensor. This will enable technical collectors and operators to react more quickly to what is happening directly before them. This technology being implemented on GTRI unmanned vehicles and is leading to the development of unmanned sensing platforms to dynamically carry out ISR missions without a human in the loop. Another capability that we're supporting the community with is our agricultural sensing for W&D facility detection program. GTRI has conducted internally funded research to innovate new ways of detecting changes to plant health and growth. These include inventing a new microgas chromatograph that fits on unmanned vehicles. This sensor technology, along with research using machine learning for processing multispectral images, has opened the door for new ways to assist remote sensing missions in detecting facilities of interest related to WMD and CBRNE activity, chemical, biological, nuclear activities. GTRI is a world leader in radar signal processing algorithm development. Among that is recent development of real-time airborne synthetic aperture radar, ground moving target indicator, and automatic target recognition. Having this capability in real time at the sensors allows for tracking of vehicles and dismounted persons. These algorithms can identify all moving objects in the scene and allow the user to select a specific moving entity to track and follow. The next program I'll talk about is the metadata-only non-ellipsoid error tracking, or MONET. GTRI researchers developed lightweight code that shifts a long-held paradigm in the metadata analysis community of forming error ellipses to achieve target containment. Traditional error ellipses formation works well for a single set of collected data. When multiple collectors are introduced, the lack of access to raw collection data prevents accurate recalculation of geolocations. MONET overcomes this challenge and gives analysts an intuitive topographical picture of where the densities of points fall. This also overcomes collection challenges in environments such as mountainous terrain and urban areas. The final program that I'll mention today is the Multi-Domain Analysis and Deep Knowledge Association Toolkit, or MADCAT. MADCAT uses high-performance computing and patented data classification algorithms to assist an analyst in pouring through big data. These algorithms measure user feedback and learn from user interaction with the data to improve performance over time. This human-machine collaboration leads to faster discovery of less obvious relationships with data to make significant discoveries within the data. This program also overcomes numerous challenges that analysts face when trying to correlate data, events, and data sets for multiple data sources and domains. So to sum it all up, GTRI is an integral part of Georgia Tech research enterprise, with the focus on applied technology and large-scale system prototyping. We have a vast amount of competencies that sponsors can tap into to solve tough problems. Our motto is problem solved. We have a tough problem that you want solved, reach out to GTRI, and we will be glad to work with you to come up with a solution. Again, please visit us in our exhibit hall in booth 1018. Thanks again for giving us this opportunity to reintroduce ourselves to this community, and I wish each and every one of you a fantastic GEOINT week here in San Antonio. Thank you.